Today on Forbes, to understand how Trump is upending Washington, speak to people from his past. Donald Trump held court in the Oval Office last week with exactly the kind of crowd he loves. The world's richest man at his side, a gaggle of journalists at his foot. Teeing up a speech from Elon Musk, the president promised to share some shocking discoveries. He said, quote, "Billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I said we were going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt." In fact, inspectors general, independent watchdogs throughout the government, have been working for years with the explicit mission of rooting out, quote, waste, fraud, and abuse. Trump fired a group of them en masse on the evening of January 24th, kicking off his first weekend back in power with a purge. The fallout from those dismissals became apparent in the Oval Office last week. Their jobs are now Musk's job. Members of Washington's oversight community, the people who fret about how the government does its business, have been in a state of bewilderment ever since Trump returned to the White House. The president storms ahead, appointing loyalists, wiping out regulations, and unilaterally pausing the enforcement of certain laws, such as the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which bans Americans from paying bribes overseas. Trump seems unconcerned that Musk wields enormous power with limited visibility into potential conflicts of interest, something the Office of Government Ethics generally ensures. The president fired its director, too. Richard Painter, who served as George W. Bush's chief ethics lawyer, scoffs, quote, "sort of in-your-face F you to ethics." But nothing about the way Trump has barged back into the White House surprises those who have known him for decades. Andrew Weiss, who worked inside the Trump Organization from 1981 to 2017, laughs and says, quote, I was talking to an old colleague the other day. I was saying, hey, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's like, well, hang on to your britches because it ain't going to be smooth riding. You know, that's the way he is." Trump has long been a man of contradictions, making it difficult to pinpoint exactly what makes him tick. He is both charming and abrasive, fast to forge connections and quick to cut them, certain to hold grudges and willing to forgive. Amid the contradictions, however, lie consistencies, including his process for exerting control over those around him. Alan Marcus, who entered Trump's orbit about 30 years ago, says, quote, "Watch Donald when he starts a relationship. Donald is the greatest at putting on charm. He's an impresario. He should have been the head waiter at the Copacabana, you know, and he makes you feel good. And special, even though he uses the same moves on everyone." This stage of Trump's relationship building has been on full display over the last few months, as the president-elect hosted politicians, business tycoons, and foreign leaders to his private club in Palm Beach, while naming the lineup of people joining him in Washington, pouring out praise with the announcements. Perhaps no one has received quite as much adulation or access as Elon Musk. Marcus says, quote, "He loves associating with rich guys." And Marcus adds it goes both ways. He says, quote, "People like to be with Donald in that phase of the relationship. Everybody wants to be with him. It's easy to want to be with him. Hey, I'm sure I felt that way, certainly at the outset." Over time, however, the displays of affection can morph into displays of power. And Trump sometimes conveys his message of power more bluntly. Barbara Ress, a former Trump Organization executive, says, quote, "He did sue everyone." Trump especially likes to apply pressure to people who won't cave to his charm. Critics often mistake the president as someone who disdains expertise. In fact, he latches onto expertise when it is ultimately subservient to him. He has hired sharp, qualified people to work for him throughout his life, including in the White House. What he doesn't like are people who are confident enough in their carefully formed views that they're unwilling to bow to his sometimes uninformed impulses. For full coverage, check out Dan Alexander's piece on Forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.